Okay, we're gonna do a quick dive today on who's opening my emails because some of the people who are opening my emails is changing in a way. Now the thing is that before I would actually get a bunch of opens from a lot of news agencies. They wouldn't report on anything that I would say, but they would actually open them. Now I've started to make it apparent that I'm now weaponizing this against them, and now we can see that they have stopped. A lot of them have stopped opening the emails, which is interesting. So let's take a look at the difference here. And let's take a look at who is actually opening the emails. So this guy is a local political guy from 700 Strong. This is a conservative group over here, Protect Kids. Peace Action, right? They've been opening my emails for a while, but at the last interaction I had with them, it was quite strange. You could look at that on my anti-war activism stuff. This is a local TV station. He might be an agent, he might not be. Probably is. Just seeing his connections. But once again, a lot of people say CIA, FBI, blah, 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 these big labels. Every person within these organizations is an individual, and each of these organizations have factions that are going off that may or may not be in alignment with the what you conceive to be these organizations. So, but his reach, his official reach, is not large, and actually after doing stuff with him, I've not really received a lot of subs or more eyes on it. So while this is an interesting potential partner, his outreach ability is quite small. Here's actually another interesting thing. This guy Shiva, right? Is Shiva actually a real anti-establishment guy, or is he controlled opposition that's being held in waiting, ready to go at some time? So they may be competing. They may be. He may be operating. He may be have a command from. He may be following some commands. He may have some autonomy. But it's interesting to note that they have continuously received my opportunities to be engaged in U.S. presidential debates, which they are consistently ignoring, right? So we'll be following with Shiva's people, Shiva Alvadurai. He does have some ties to Hollywood, like what's his name, Fran Drescher, things like that. So he talks a good line, but if you look at his background, he's also done stuff with Republican Party at higher levels. So hard to tell exactly what's going on there, but he sells himself as the solution, and he does not really seem to have any regional managers from what I see. So we're going to try to contact one in New York soon, but it's been smelling kind of fishy. Central Queens GOP, you can see the undergrad of Harvard and Yale are checking, but what's interesting is that we do not have any real, the larger mainstream media like New York Times, Washington Post, that used to open my emails, they're not opening them anymore. We see Columbia. This is actually local, some local activists that I know. And then we start to get into these candidates, right? For New York, for council. These are local New York City candidates. Green Party Alaska, that's interesting. They have not been responding to me since they had their own, which I supported them when their debates and stuff. I've been talking with Josh Haley, but the thing is that the leader of this group, I forgot his name, but Robert Shields, I think. He does have some weird ties to Jesse Ventura, who completely sold out. And he also has more of a relying on some kind of celebrity network like Pacifica Network and Aurora Media, who have been shown to be really suspect, and they refuse to answer questions on some of their past mistakes. And they could just admit it and move on, but they refuse to, right? So this is actually quite strange. The Missouri Green Party, You and Me Books, is actually a local Asian American group that does not actually respond. And I used to get my emails popped up by En masse. They stopped popping them open since I went to go and protest an event that they were at, because a lot of these communications have been one way. They have never responded, and this is quite troubling. Amsterdam News, they have an Asian American reporter. There's a smaller newspaper, the oldest black newspaper, that you have the Chinese guy reading my emails. He's not actually Korean American. This guy's actually interesting too. This Tsai Sang-yu. I've actually accused him of being a, he's in with the gatekeepers. He's not allowed to be on my show, not by my command, but by Carl Zah and Danny Haifong and other people that he's associated with. They're actually in kind of cahoots. It's kind of sad, but it's just true. Okay, it is what it is. Keith Frank, these are people from could be fighting hard, Jazz for Peace, local artist. But we can see, this is actually a guy from New York Film Academy. He actually filmed a short thing on me. Could be real, could be fake. But we don't really, I've never seen his work come out. He came to film me in my studio and other things like that. We see some people from New York State Assembly. I have all the New York State Assembly members added. The press, though, once again, we don't really see New York Times opening these emails anymore. The tips for CBS, and I'll show those earlier. So let's take a look at through here. Assembly, these are more, AFI, Asian Americans for Equality. They've never responded to me in person. There's a couple of candidates I'm interested in, a local New York State candidate, and a candidate from Alaska that I've worked with in the past. Once again, New York's Assembly, and these people are opening the most recent ones. Now we see the Libertarian Party of California. They're actually at war with, their past chair, Mimi Robson. So, Mimi was able to take over by being quiet. And they're actually trying to play this little stealth 4D chess game where they're reading my stuff, they're not responding. The Libertarian Party is actually involved with Jill Stein. And unfortunately, the party leadership, some people in the party also know this. They're involved with some kind of games, right? Some kind of aristocracy games. It's quite sad. You think that the libertarians would be more free thinkers, and there are some of them, but the ones at the top with the relationships with the media are actually involved in shenanigans to, fuck over the little people with their own power, right? Yeah, and they're in league with other party leadership, like Free and Equal, corporate America, Jill Stein, this other bullshit. That's actually happened yesterday. New York Assembly, Government NYSAR, not sure what that is. Probably another not-for-profit. I have actually a bunch of New York Assembly. I have every single person from New York State Assembly on my mailing list. Some of them have unsubscribed and New York Assembly. So, and some of their staff members are also on this list as well. We have some tennis president from public housing. Unfortunately, in Mott Haven, I actually did an event for free for them, and I gave away free stuff at their event, and they never hired me back because of political pressure that I believe was placed on them, and then just kind of dropped off. This is my partner from LA. But you can see that the press really, right at House of Representatives, this is an email from 13th Assembly District maybe, and my news, NBC Asian American, has been regularly popping on my emails, but once again we can see there's no New York Times. Tsingtao, Chinese newspaper, Epoch Times used to open my emails. They have stopped opening the emails. Queens Times, local newspaper, World Journal. Once again, you can see like New York Times, SBC Global. I think that this is actually also a press email as well. Assembly members. You can, Kavanaugh, interesting, right? Yeah. Move to Amend is interesting. They're still offering City and State. This is a local political newspaper. But you can see like the national ones, ABC, CBS, NBC, New York Times, Washington Post, Huffington Post, The Hill. NBC, they're all on my list here, but they're not actually popping up in the emails here. Now we're getting to this section. We probably will be experiencing more of these are the schools here. Right, I have a bunch of schools on the mailing list, student governments, and then we have a lot of these other, edu.edu.edu. So now we start to have for KY, Fox, for for Wisconsin, for this, for that. This is actually probably the list of for Congress, right? These are the list of the candidates running the 24 election cycle that are actually, running for Senate or State Assembly. So for North Carolina, for U.S. Senate, right? This is actually, this whole batch is going to be all these candidates running for office. Now, a lot of them are not opening them anymore. And in this cycle, we have a lot less participation. I'm pretty sure that party leadership of Libertarians, Greens, Democrats, Republicans have instructed their candidates not to engage in this particular project. So they're just not talking about it. But you can see the drop in participation in this year's cycle, which would actually should be more, right? In a presidential cycle, you have more people running, and there should be more engagement in a program like this. But there's actually less, and you can see that other people dropped, such as interesting the Party for Liberation and Socialism, or these other lefty groups. A lot of them have also dropped from this program because they are actually got instructions from others. So Russ for Congress over here, right? Yeah, and all these. So you could see all these. Once again, We the People, Michigan, all these candidates, but the actual engagement from the actual press is actually way lower. Let's go see one of the early ones over here and see the engagement from before. Okay. Do they not have them all before? Interesting. Okay. So let's take a look at this one. Okay. There's more from before this. Interesting. But, okay, let's take it opens. So at this time, do we have any from the press? Bronx Connect, Peace Action, like I said, they've been opening it on a regular basis. This is fairly more recent now that I see One Live TV here. Once again, you can see that Shiva is actually opening this up, right? Shiva Avdi Rise People. A lot more student governments were opening back at that time. This has dropped seriously. And Sarah at Equal Vote is interesting. She actually dropped, right? So she probably got some news to write. We see that once again, the Amsterdam News is popping this open. Let's see if we can find any from Keith Frank again, SalU, right? Yeah, they've been opening my emails. You can see from the past, right? En masse workers did open back in the day. They stopped opening my emails. So let's see if we can find any from New York Times opening my emails here. World Journal, right? We saw this over here. World Journal. Jonathan for Queens, Borough President. The Borough President, I think, also stopped opening the emails. They don't want to be. I started calling people out, right? The NYU News, the NBC, Asian American NBC. We can see them popping this open as well. So let's see if we can find some more of these campaigns here. Yeah, let's go back. Okay, so Feb 10 to 24. This is quite some time ago. Let's look at this one over here. This will probably give us a better idea of who's X report. Sure. So here we could see who's opening this back in February, and we should see some of the press, right? Audit New York. That's an interesting one. We're going to talk about them in a second. Okay, Audit New York is actually, they uncovered some kind of like, you would think they want to get the message out, right, about tampering with the U.S. voting, but the thing is they haven't gotten back to me. So they are actually been instructed not to actually appear on my channel by other conservative groups. The conservatives have their own 32BJ, right? Yeah, this is actually a union that we've been doing some back and forth with. They have stopped opening the emails as well. The not-for-profits, the progressive sector and the conservative sector, both have their own kind of like, they're exchanging information. They're like, do this, don't do this, talk to this guy, don't talk to this guy, and they're playing games. Here you can see New York Times, Laura Charlton. They used to Vice, right? They used to open the emails. They have stopped. Okay, Yusef Salam used to open the emails. He has stopped. Queens Times. I've not seen them open emails recently. There was more like from New York Times before. Like if I go to my older account that I could show, here we see more of these EDUs. A lot of Student Government Association. There's quite a few opens there. And Colorado EDU. Public Relations San Diego, interesting. Okay, now we start to have farms, for Congress, for, these are vote, blah, blah, blah. So these are the candidates that are running in the 24th. After the primaries, a lot of them will have dropped. And also, to tell you the truth, a lot of the candidates don't have the same level of care about these particular issues. They want a job. They want to, have the prestige. But in terms of doing the work and really being dedicated to actually making a difference in people's actual lives, they're not here to do the grunt work. They're here to be an executive. And I'm telling you, that's not really ideal. Yeah, they don't without that really knowing the business from the ground level, they don't really have the know-how and the real bottom-up knowledge that's needed to really run the organization correctly. Do you have any more press on board here? A lot more candidates were opening in the past, right? But after the primaries, a lot of them will drop. And you can see that they're not really committed towards these ideas or for change, right? They're really more committed to the idea of having a job, so or having prestige. So that's not completely uncommon. So I guess during times of opening back in the day, they had already started to drop at this time. Let me see if I can actually access my. Am I still logged in? Okay. We're going to need to access this one over here to show you some of the older reports, but I should have some of those also logged. But it's just interesting to see how things have changed. So now they actually, the press is really opening my stuff a lot less. They're either locals or the Asian American related. But as from the national press, they've really stopped opening the emails, and I've actually said that I will weaponize or disregard against them, right? So the other emails that they opened, reporting on quite relevant stuff, such as the disintegration of the third party movement and the theft and abuse that occurred at the People's Party, is all, they've all seen those things. So I will pull that up in another video later.